Matt and Abby are being called out once again, and this time it's by other people that do podcasts similar to theirs and other influencers. And it's not so much to do with what Abby says or does, but as usual, it's all about what Matt says and does live on their podcasts. Matt and Abby have millions of followers and subscribers over their social media platforms, and they have been called out many, many, many times for controversies, such as when they left their children in a room on their own on a cruise ship. And these children are like 1 and 2 years old, so they're not the age where you should ever be leaving them alone. So I made a video on that, and then they were called out again because Matt was being selfish and sleeping in the guest room closet, and I've made a video on that. So, what is the controversy going to be this time? On a recent podcast, Matt and Abby both admitted over the years that they have been putting out content for social media every day. They have shared far too much about their lives and not had any privacy. And this has caused a big problem in their marriage. Matt and Abby are a young married couple who were high school sweethearts, and they got married very young and now have two little boys. And to be fair, they don't really show them that much in their content. And if they do, it's only like the back of their heads. So nobody sees their faces. So that's not where the controversy lies. But they seem to be going viral on a regular basis for scandalous reasons. One scandalous thing that Matt said to Abby on the Unplanned podcast was when Abby had just had their second child by caesarean section. So, as you can imagine, she was feeling pretty delicate. And Matt decided he was not going to talk to her for 2 days. So he totally ignored her. And this is what they had to say about this on the podcast. And as you can imagine, it got serious backlash from their many followers.
I'll be honest with you for a
What?
second. You know how I was like really quiet the first day after the birth?
Yeah.
I think like, look, I don't get like emotional like you, but I think that was like my version of baby blues in a way,
Yeah.
which I feel like I still don't quite understand what the term baby blues means, but I think
You'll never understand, honey.
I won't, and I won't understand from your perspective. But I think I was having this like realization moment of, okay, like my life just changed big time. And for a little bit, I was like, wow, like all my career goals have to go to the wayside. And I just kind of felt, I was kind of frustrated a little bit.
People couldn't believe that Matt was being so selfish. Abby had just gone through a caesarean section, and he is sitting there saying that all his goals and career ideas had to fall by the wayside. Well, no, they didn't, because you didn't have to carry on being a content creator. You chose to do that. And you've made enough money up to this point for you to be able to pursue your goals. So people couldn't understand why he was being so selfish.
I could tell.
And I just kind of shut down and didn't say anything. Like
Yeah.
I was just like quiet
Yeah, that
Um,
was hard for me.
because I wasn't going to like talk to you about it because I didn't want to like bring you down. But then by me not saying anything, I think that brought you down.
Well, you were bringing me down because you weren't talking to me.
Can you imagine going through such a traumatic birth and then the father of your child doesn't talk to you for 2 days? No, don't get me wrong. I know people have cesarean sections every day of the week, and lots of people have more than one. But that doesn't mean it's not a traumatic experience. And it does take a lot to heal up from that and to be able to move around and do things in a normal manner. And you really need help at that point. So for your husband to not be talking to you is just beyond wrong to me.
It was just hard because I was having such high needs at that point
Yeah.
that weren't getting met.
Abby just said there that she had really high needs that weren't being met, and you just listen to what Matt says about it, because he doesn't address it at all. He just goes on bleating about himself.
And I think
and
it
it
was
was hard.
causing frustration between the two of us.
And it was hard too, because like for me, knowing that you can't, other than obviously you need to feed Augie, and we can't do formula, but like you were wanting to do breastfeeding, and so like it felt like I was doing like everything for Augie, and so I'm like, here I am, like I have all these like big goals and big dreams, and I have to put them to the wayside, and I'm like, I'm stuck here, and I was kind of mad.
Yeah.
And that just lasted for like a day.
It lasted like 2 days.
You think it lasted 2 days?
For sure.
Did it last into the second day? Maybe it did last for the second day. But then it went away.
Now?
Yeah.
With Matt saying what he's saying, this is why people are saying, is it actually rage bait? Is he just saying that to get people's backs up because he knows that by him ignoring his wife and saying it all on the podcast, that is going to upset their majoritively female audience? Or is he being for real? I mean, don't get me wrong, I think this did actually happen, but what's the point of sharing it? Is it for the rage bait, or is it because he's sorry that it happened? Well, when we continue watching the clip, we're going to see it's not because he's sorry.
But I also think that like it hits you in that moment, because you feel like your life is over, and you feel like you can't do anything else. Because in that moment,
The moment felt earth-shattering.
Well, because I think when you have a new kid coming into the world,
as Abby just said, for her, the way he treated her was earth-shattering. And they have been called out for this many times, and lots of people actually said that they can't understand why Abby is still married to him. And then there was a skit made, and everyone thinks, there's obviously no proof, but everyone thinks it is aimed at Matt and Abby. So let's watch it, and you let me know in the comments if you think it could be aimed at them.
Hey, maybe if you don't want millions of people on the internet telling you to leave your husband, you shouldn't have posted a video of him doing something so ridiculously toxic that deep down you knew was wrong, but just wanted the confirmation from others that his behavior is unacceptable.
And when it's called out on such a massive scale, maybe instead of writing it off and labeling it as his sense of humor, you should accept that the people commenting for you to leave your husband actually want what's best for you.
That skit was done by influencers Maya and Hunter, and to be honest, it could really fit Matt and Abby, and I have seen many comments on their videos where people are saying that they should get divorced and that Abby would be better off without him. But it could also apply to other couples, I guess. Matt and Abby blew up and grew huge for their TikTok dances throughout the pandemic, which is when a lot of influencers took off because people were stuck at home. And they did have adoring fans. But now Abby admits that she sits there and makes the content, but she never watches it back. It never got edited in any way. Whatever they made just got put out. And she stays away from social media, which means that Matt does everything. So when they were invited on a podcast, they decided to tell the world everything was changing and the reasons why. This is the Ginger and Jerry podcast.
More recently is like not talking about things until it's like we've resolved them, healed from them, whatever it is. Because I think it's good to be vulnerable. I mean, I feel like that word is overused in a way, but like the sense that like we're not putting on any kind of front, and like we're not also going to. Social media gets criticized a lot for being like, highlights reel. So you have to do that, find that balance there.
Yeah.
And but also there's like certain times where it's like, okay, if your marriage is more important, then like, you know, you have to be ready. Like, you have to be right within yourselves before you're like putting this out there for everyone. And I think we've made mistakes in that area before. And I feel like now we have a really good system for communicating those things. And so now it's like a really quick thing. It's like, oh, what are we gonna talk about? Okay, this is I don't know. I think it's a little too soon. It's like, all right, move on. Or we even like said it by accident. It's like, okay, great, we have the power of editing. I didn't feel I said that was okay to talk about, but in hindsight, I feel like it's a little bit like, maybe toes the line. Or we can ask our friends, be like, does this seem a little bit? So we have a lot more like open conversation, dialogue around those things now.
Were posting absolutely everything that happened in their day. And as you can imagine, that caused untold amounts of problems and arguments that weren't necessary. People still were saying, was it all rage bait? And in my opinion, a lot of it was. But now they've learned the hard way that that is not necessarily the way to go about it. Because to be honest, they do get really good guests on their podcast. So they don't have to put out rage bait content to get millions of views and to carry on making the amount of money that they have been.
Also, like posting every single day about everything going on in our life, to where absolutely no privacy at all for our lives. And it's crazy to look back. Like we've had some like disagreements before on our podcast. I'm like, we probably shouldn't have aired that. Like we've been so real and so just like authentic and vulnerable.
And I don't watch it back, so I have no idea. What went down?
To where it's like we've really put out a lot of stuff.
Matt did admit that they were too open, too honest, and posted far too much about their personal lives. Maybe they should have kept private.
One of my regrets was we basically publicly talked about an argument we had in our marriage right after the birth of our second child. And I like, there's things that I did then that I like regret. And also just perception can get so messy when people are like, the he said, she said thing happens, and then something that you did can turn into something that's way bigger than it actually was. And so I just wish that we would have probably had more privacy in that situation. But I was thinking about, hey, if we're vulnerable with this, maybe it'll encourage other people to know that they're not alone.
Hopefully they've both learned their lessons. Things are not going to be so scandalous anymore, and they are just going to concentrate on the good guests that they have. Well, that's it for the Matt and Abby update. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, hit the like button, turn on the notification bell, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye bye for now.